There we are. Okay. We are live here on our big broadcast. We are coast to coast. We are border to border on iHeartRadio today. Also, AMFM247.com. 50 plus AM/FM stations across the country and around the world, and live video on our website at jiggyjaguar.com. We have got a fantastic guest with us today. Deborah Driggs is with us. She is fantastic. And she has done a little bit of everything. She was a Playboy centerfold. She was a cover girl. She's Screen Actors Guild member, and she has achieved the top 5% in her industry as a member of the $1 Million Roundtable. I feel like she is way above my pay grade to be talking to today. But nonetheless, we have the fantastic Deborah Driggs with us today. She is so busy. She is like a gerbil in a batting cage. Deborah, welcome to the broadcast. How are you, my friend?
Thank you for that kind intro. Thank you so much for having me.
So, how in the world did you get into Playboy? I want to start there because you were a model and still do a lot of modeling. How did you get started as a model?
I started modeling in 1983. I was in Japan dancing, and I got asked if I would do this print ad. They needed somebody who could dance and do this print ad, and so they hired me, and I spent the day on a set doing this really fun print ad. And I thought, I really think that I want to do this. And it also incorporated a lot of acting too, because I had to pretend I was a girl from the 50s and all. I'm getting a little.
That's fine. It's Skype. It's Skype. You're fine. You're fine, my friend.
Okay.
You're fine.
I was like, is that me?
No. You're good. You're good. I was just listening along with you here. So you basically did some modeling.
Yeah, so I started modeling in Japan, came back. Okay. And I decided that I wanted to pursue the entertainment business, and I didn't know really what that looked like. So I took a commercial workshop, and at the end of that workshop, 2 agents wanted to sign me. So I signed with Pacific Crest, and then I signed with a modeling agency called Max. And they sent me out on my first, and I booked it. And
wow.
How that was unheard of. Usually you go on 100 auditions before you book something, but I went on a commercial it was for a Japanese commercial, so I have this luck with the Japanese. Yeah. And so I went on this commercial audition for a product for Japan, and I booked it. And so then my agents had all this enthusiasm about me because they just signed me, and here I am booking my first audition. So that's all going on. And so I had done commercials and I'd been modeling. And in 1989, I got a call from my agent, and they asked me if I would be interested in being on the cover of a book that Playboy was, the lingerie book. And I said, well, awesome. Is there nudity involved? She said, I don't think so. This is for the cover. So I went to the audition. It was famous Playboy. I'd driven by it and never been inside. So I thought, well, this will be an experience. I'm 25 years old, and I'm going to go check out the Playboy building. So I went to the audition. It did not go well. I didn't think it went well. And they wanted me to take off all my clothes and put on a robe and do a Polaroid. And I said, no, I'm not here for that. I'm here for the cover of the lingerie book. And they said, well, everything we do, we need to see your body.
Yeah.
And so I left my undergarments on, which was kind of like a sport bra, and so it wasn't a big deal. So I go out to do the Polaroid, and they're like, yeah, we need to see your whole body. And I was like, well, I'm not taking anything off. So I leave thinking that didn't go well. And I get a call from the editor-in-chief of Playboy, Marilyn Kowalski, and she said, we want to test you to be a playmate. And I said, I think you're confusing me with another girl at that audition. Because literally, it wasn't on my list of aspirations to be in the magazine. And I just didn't see myself that way at that time. I was doing a lot of catalog work and Sunday paper, department
Yeah.
store work and, more commercial print work. And so nothing high fashion, nothing really sexy. I did some swimwear, but, this was a big change for me. And so after discussing everything with my agents, we knew, because this was 1989, we knew that this was going to kind of narrow down my auditioning, so now I wasn't going to be going out for those family commercials or, because Playboy had that effect back then. And then on the other hand, Playboy was the #1 magazine in the world. So, we had to
Yes.
What do you do?
That's the
thing.
Do
you take a chance and hope for the best, or do you pass it up because you want to keep, I was doing a lot of commercials back then. And so I chose to do Playboy. And so, I have no regrets. I had an amazing experience. I had Richard Fegley, who was, I thought, just an amazing photographer. And I think I even requested him when they were asking me how I saw this all being played out. They kind of want your feedback on how you want to, what kind of theme you want to shoot and all of that. And I had just seen the movie Dangerous Liaisons. And it was all this very French themed. And I thought, I want to do that. I want to do something very French and European. And so I requested Richard Beckley, and I got him as a photographer, and he was amazing, amazing. He was just, we had so much fun shooting. And I never felt weird, or I never felt uncomfortable, and I never felt
That's awesome.
anything, weird about it. It was a beautiful experience, and I had so much fun meeting Hef and getting to know him over the years. And, he's wickedly smart and wickedly funny, and, being around him and being around his world, you knew what it was. He created it. He created this whole world of being a Playboy and living a life of luxury, and when you look at the advertisements in the magazine, they were all about the cars and the champagne and the cigars and the girls. Yeah. I think the Playmate was just really the cherry on such a visionary, he was the Esquire with the girl with the centerfold.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well,
yeah. That's really my Playboy story. I went to the mansion, a few times, and I attended a few of the parties, but I wasn't that big in the Playboy world.
Well, we have got a tremendous guest with us today. She joins us live here in our broadcast. Deborah Driggs is with us. The website is deborah.driggs.com. And she joins us here on our big program. And she has been, had her toes in a little bit of everything. And you are still doing a lot of modeling and a lot of photo shoots and things. Your Instagram is fantastic. Your social media is amazing. Tell us a little bit about modeling nowadays.
I think it's different now because I don't feel like it's a job. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the fact that anybody wants to shoot me or hire me. I worked on a movie last year, and it was just so great to be on set again and to have those creative juices and be around creative people. And I hadn't been on a set in a very long time, and I had a small part in this movie, but it's going to go to the festival, so that's really exciting. And I just, for me, it's all about gratitude. I'm grateful that I'm at an age where people are still interested and still want to hire me.
Well,
and agents want to represent me. You know what I mean? I'm still with the same agent that I had since I was 23 years old.
Wow. That's pretty badass.
Same commercial agent. we just kind of re-signed. I re-signed up with him, and I said, look, I'm in LA. I'm not just, it's COVID. I'm not going anywhere. You know, I was traveling for a very long time. I was just on this mission to travel the world. And then when COVID hit, I thought, well, I'm in LA. I might as well go back to doing what I love doing. And I started writing again. And I, as you know, if you're following me on social media, I write a weekly blog, and
yeah.
I pick a subject and I kind of stay with it throughout the week. And then each week I have a different blog. And I have a website where it's getting rebranded as we speak. And I'm coming out with a 90-day program for people. And I'm going to have a free gift soon. So if you're listening and you want to follow along and join me on my journey, go to my website and sign up for my newsletter, because I'm going to be giving away a free gift, especially for anybody who's a Playboy, fan, because, people are sending me stuff like crazy. I didn't mention before, but Donald Trump is on the cover of my centerfold issue. And so it's now a collector's item. So I get more fan mail today because everybody wants the magazine signed. And so if you want to, if you're interested, I'm going to be sending a free gift. I'm going to be coming out with a box of affirmation cards from all my blogs. And
awesome.
I have a newsletter, which is free to sign up for. And then you'll get updates on all the things that I'm going to be doing and coming up with. And I have a coffee table book coming out soon. And
yes, and that's where I wanted to go next. You have got a fabulous book that is going to be coming out very soon. Tell us a little bit about why you decided to write a book.
Because people would say to me, gosh, Deb, you always seem like you have it so together. And I realized that the persona that people were seeing and my personality, and because I'm so outgoing and vivacious and I'm very extroverted and I talk to everybody, and it just seems like I'm just always in this energetic high mood. But the truth is that really I was suffering for so many years, and when I would go down, I would go really low. Yeah. And so I thought, I'm going to write a book about this journey, because it took me years and years to figure out the combination of, health, mind, body, spirit, all the things, and then putting the pieces together of a puzzle, and then really going back into time and seeing patterns and figuring all this out. It's like a puzzle, you start to fit the pieces together. And I thought, I'm going to write a book about that. And so when you see that I write a blog each week, those blogs are really stories from my book that's going to come out. And it's my memoir. It's my story. And by the way, I don't think I'm special or my story is unique. I know that there's people out there that have suffered way more than I have. But I think it's also interesting to take people through a journey of somebody like me that's been on the cover of magazines or been in commercials or married the gold medal gymnast and that didn't work out. And, when you see like people that have all these successes but then are still suffering, it's good for people to see that, because I think especially today on social media, we see everything looks so good and like, look, we're so in love, and look, I'm so thin, or look, I'm so hot, or look, and it's not the reality, it's like, so I had to really look at my social media, and I 2 years ago decided and made a vision statement, that I would not post anything unless it was going to help somebody else. And so I kind of changed the way, I know it's a catch-22 for me, because I do model and I do still do stuff in the entertainment world. So I do have to promote, it's like I promote myself, but I also promote my wellness program, which is really more important to me today, because without that, there's nothing, without health and wellness, nothing else matters. It's like, that's the most important. And I prioritize that. That is my number one thing, is to have health and wellness and to have a really good mindset, because I just know the suffering that I've gone through. And so I think that when people get to know me and they get to know my story and they get to see, how I grew up and, I didn't just get lucky, I worked really hard to get the jobs that I got. And, I was one of those hustlers, I got my SAG card because I begged a director to give me a line in a movie. I was that girl, I was the one
That's
banging
awesome.
doors down. I'd show up with my headshot and resume in the 80s to everybody. And, that's what we did back then. You just show up and say, well, here's my headshot and resume. Hire me for anything. I'll be an extra. Just, hire me. And I had that kind of chutzpah, I guess is what you want to call it. I had those kind of balls. And, I wasn't from the entertainment world. So I didn't have any nepotism or I didn't, there wasn't anybody guiding me. All the success or failure or mistakes I made, I had to learn the hard way. There was no, even my agents weren't really guiding me, and then I had a manager that was managing 10 people and even he would say, he was like, Deborah, there's nothing wrong. It was like all this negative energy. And I was like, it's so when I look back on that and I think, wow, these are the people that I allowed in my 20s to kind of run my show. And that's not the case today. Now I only surround myself with people that are like, yeah, awesome. Let's do it. Positive, that's my vibe today. And so, what happened between my 20s and my 50s is the story, it's really, the journey. And I think everybody has one. And I think it really helps people when you share your journey, not because it's special, not because it's unique, not because it's some great thing, but because it might help somebody else. And so that's my journey. Did I have a lot of hardships and a lot of things that brought me to my knees? Absolutely. But I know that there's people out there that had it so much worse, and I want to know their stories too. So I know that I have benefited from hearing stories that are inspiring or that make me want to grow and learn and connect more. And so that's the purpose of that book. And then I have another book coming out that's a coffee table book where I'm going to make a beautiful book of all my blogs and all the photos that have been used. So it can be a more of an art coffee table
That's
piece.
badass.
And I'm really doing that for the fans that I have out there that keep sending me stuff to sign. Now they'll have an opportunity to buy something, and if they buy it, that's one thing, and if they can buy it with me signing it is another thing. So I'll have two options.
That's pretty cool.
And then the third book, and that's coming out in the next 6 to 8 months, is a book that my grandfather wrote called Son of a Basque. And he tried to get it published for years. And in 2017, my grandmother passed. And I had this book sitting. And in 2018, I finally sat down and read it. And I was like, whoa. I was like, because there were things in the book I didn't even know about my family.
Wow.
And so I thought, this is not only a great book, but it's a really good screenplay. And so that just put me on a mission of, at first I started thinking about going down the route of getting an agent to help me publish the book because I have access to that. And I thought, no, you know what? I'm going to do this all myself because I'm the one that's going to go on podcasts and radio shows and sell it. So I might as well publish it. So I'm publishing this book this year called Son of a Basque. It's a historical fiction, and it's got a lot of beautiful things about the Basque country, which a lot of people don't know much about, that part of the world. And one of the intriguing things is, the Basque language is one of the oldest languages in the world.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's just some beautiful facts about the country that I didn't even know. And here, my grandfather is Basque, and I didn't know any of this. And so when I read the book, I fell in love with not only the book, but I fell in love with the Basque country, and I fell in love with his journey. He was in 3 wars.
Wow.
In the United States. He fought
Holy
for
smokes.
the United States. And so it's a journey of a guy, that his family migrates from Spain. His father's father was a famous bullfighter in Spain and is in the bullfighting Hall of Fame. And we're still trying to locate that, right? It's hard to do it from here, so I may have to go there and see that. But
The bullfighting Hall of Fame. I didn't know anything like that existed.
My uncle has been there and saw the photo of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so there's this whole story about that, and then how they got chased out of Mexico by Pancho Villa. There's a whole thing about that.
Wow.
And then, just all the war stories, the World War II stories are so fascinating. And, it really kind of made me, I cried through it because I thought, wow, these are stories I really, my grandfather never talked about war, and I've noticed that.
Well, just the little tidbits you just shared, it ought to be a movie.
Yes. So these are the projects that I work on, and I was really happy that, I was at a place in my life where I was able to do something with this great book that maybe nobody would have ever gotten to read. And I love the fact that I'm publishing it. I formed my own publishing company. So I have a company called Crystal Woods Publishing. And so I'll self-publish it and it'll be available. And again, I will sell that on my website. So that's why people, if you really want to follow all these different things that I'm working on, I have a movie that, like I told you, that I worked on that's going to a film festival in the desert in March, next month. March 8th through the 15th. I don't know what day our film will be shown, but that's something else that I'll be posting about. So
I want to talk a little bit about your, filmography and some of the different things you've done, because you started, what was it, 1987 was one of your first TV series, or was that before that?
So I started, oh my God, I worked on shows like Rags to Riches and
you were in General Hospital.
Yep.
You've been on a little bit of everything. I think that's awesome.
And they were all, just like 2 days of work here, 3 days of work here.
Yeah.
And, I obviously I wanted to be a regular player on the soap. Would have been great. Really hard work, doing soaps. I mean, I only worked 2 days on General Hospital, and it was a lot of work. I was like, I applaud those actors, because you only get 1 or 2 takes and that's it.
Yeah.
They move on to the next. So when people go, oh, soaps, people used to make fun of soaps, but I actually applaud those actors because they work really, really hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you've been involved in all sorts of different movies. One of the things I noticed going through research on you, especially your Internet Movie Database, you did a TV series in 95, and then according to Internet Movie Database, you didn't do anything until 2015. That can't be right.
No, so I did in 1997 or 1998, I did a show called Nightstand.
Okay.
And then, no, I did not do anything until around 2003. And what I did a bunch of commercials. We moved our family in 2003 to Park City, Utah.
Oh.
And
wow.
So I immediately got an agent in Salt Lake City. I signed with an agent called TMG, which is Talent Management Group.
Yep.
And so I did commercials and some print work and did some auditioning there for some movies. But what I ended up doing was I ended up hosting the Mountain Morning Show in Park City, which was a 2-hour unscripted.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I did I think when I came back to LA, I did a web series called Whitey.
Yeah, that's what you did in 2015, and so I was trying to figure out just
there's a lot of gaps.
What the heck was going on between 95 to 2015? I'm like, why take such a break?
I got tired. Okay, I needed a 10-year break.
So
I had to go to rehab. Okay? Trust me. I've been there too.
So, what has been the most rewarding thing? The modeling, the acting, the hosting. What have you enjoyed the most?
Well, I have to say, of all those things, I think what I've enjoyed the most is hosting. You know, whether it's hosting an infomercial or when I hosted the Mountain Morning Show.
Yeah.
And, you know, that job paid me nothing. And it was one of my favorite jobs. I loved getting up and I loved doing a 2-hour unscripted live morning show. And I loved my co-host, Chris Steele. So that was probably my favorite of those things.
Yeah.
But really my favorite thing now, I think, is really, I'm so passionate right now about this wellness journey that I'm on and this 90-day program that I'm creating. And I'm really looking to offer something to somebody that's a little different than all the other programs that are out there. And I've done a lot of them. You know, I have done everything from Tony Robbins to Keith Cunningham to Master Co to Joseph McClendon to, you know, different mastery programs. You know, there's always spin-offs. When you go to one seminar, then they'll offer another seminar, or you can go to the oneness community, or you can go do this, or you can go to Joe Dispenza, or, you know, there's all these different programs or different things that you can do to, you know, enhance your life. And so when COVID hit, it really started to hit me that a lot of people are really fearful about traveling and
Yes.
changing environments right now. And so I thought, you know, why don't I create something that people can do online? They don't have to go anywhere, and they can get some sort of relief and help. You know, people go to those things to get relief and help or change their life or better their life. And so in December of 2020, I was going to start it was the end of, you know, right around New Year's Eve, and I was going to start that 75 hard program that everybody was doing.
Yeah.
Where it's like 75 days of like this, this, and this. And so I started that program, and I woke up, I was like 40 days into it, and I woke up at like 2 a.m, and I'm like, Deb, do your own program. You keep doing other people's programs, and all of this is inside of you. Do your program. So I came up with my own program, which is a 90-day program. And I literally just took, you know, it's not like I'm creating something that's not out there, but it's maybe just a little bit different. And it's just 90 days of I removed all toxins out of my life. And it gets much deeper than that. But I ended up doing it for 6 months. And I found it to be one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. And I thought, wow, if this was really challenging for me, but yet brought me so much comfort, and like I really felt a shift happen, then why not share this with other people? Hey, here's what, and also while I was doing this 90 days and the 6 months, and some of it I kept going for a year, but I also got life coach certified. I also did a couple programs online. You know, I've just immersed myself with.
Yeah, you're like a yoga instructor and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, I'm yoga certified too.
I'm amazed that you have time for all this.
Well, you can see that that's high on my list. Is growth and learning is really high on my value list. Like I crave it really. And so there were many years where I wasn't doing that. And that's when I went down, just spiraled down. Yeah. Because I wasn't learning and I wasn't growing and I wasn't doing the things that I knew I should be doing. And I just turned into this unhappy, bitter, rageaholic, like, you know, just out there going off the reservation. And I think that happens to people. I think we lose ourselves, you know, somewhere along the way. So I think at some point in our life, whether it doesn't matter what age it happens, but for me, it happened in my 40s. And I really, at age 40, just found myself broke and divorced and 3 kids. And all I knew how to do was entertainment world stuff and waitress. You know, I didn't have a career.
Yeah.
You know, I had the entertainment career. So I had to like reinvent myself. many times over. And what do you do when you've been on the cover of several magazines and you've had this success, and which in a lot of people's minds might look exceptional, when you see people on TV and all of that. But, really it is because it's hard to break into that business, but it's also like, I'm just an average person with a lot of problems and a lot of suffering. And so that's going back to my book. That's another segment in the book, is that, you can be on TV, you can be married to Brad Pitt, you could be, you could be an astronaut, you could be the multi-billionaire. We're watching it. We're watching it all around us. We're watching moguls go to jail. We're watching moguls come out, with sex addiction and all these the Me Too movements starting. And we're watching all of this. So it doesn't matter how much money or how much fame or how much success. Or let me tell you, when I was at the height of my business career, because I was in business from about 2006 till about 2018, heavily in business. And, I had a few years there where I was like making money that I never thought I'd see in my life. And I have to tell you, I was the most miserable. I was not happy. I was sad. I was just, now I'm like, I have money, but now I'm searching for something else. It's like we think we want to get to a destination, or we want to make this amount of money, or we want to marry this person, and then we get it and it falls apart. Why? And that was my journey. It was like, why? Why is it that Brad and Angelina can't stay together? These are two of the most hot, beautiful people in the world. Like, those are the things that intrigue me. Like, what is going on that there's so much suffering and so much addiction and so much trauma. And, I see it now, with devices, with kids, everybody's like this, and there's a lot going on. And so I hope that when people come to my website and they start reading about my program, that they go, you know what, I want to commit to doing that. It's 90 days. And I tell you, when it's not an easy program, it's not going to be for everybody. And it's going to be for people who can actually really give themselves 90 days, because I take everything out. Like, we take everything off the table, and then we add all these beautiful things that we do for 90 days. I'm telling you, I was a different person after 90 days. It was like night and day. Even the people around me changed and shifted.
I've had that happen in the past too, where I've decided to make some different changes, and certain people just go out of your life, and certain people come into your life. Looking at your Instagram, you have got a ton of positive posts and all these various things about aging gracefully and all these things. And you talking just a few moments ago, I have more than two questions, but two things popped up in my head. One of the things that we do on this program, besides interviewing authors, is I interview porn stars and MMA people, and I interview a little bit of everybody. And I've noticed recently, and I don't know what the hell.
They all have a lot to contribute.
They all have a lot to contribute.
Good for you.
And one of the things I find so strange, and maybe you can educate me on this, I have run into more porn stars and adult entertainment people over the last couple of years that they're in the adult industry, and then they leave the adult industry and go become realtors and sell insurance. And I noticed that you, on your LinkedIn, you've done insurance. What in the world is it with you perv magnets?
Number one in my industry in insurance. That's when I had a lot of success. I had in 2013 and 14 and 15, I was on a roll. I was getting tons of referrals and just did really well. I love life insurance. I think it's a great industry.
What is the appeal for perv magnets to go from being perv magnets to selling insurance or
I
being
don't know
realtors?
and by the way, I've never met anybody in my industry unless I just don't know about it. But that's a good question, and I couldn't answer it.
It's so strange. I just found it so strange because
I don't know.
I've met many, they've either been in Playboy or they've been in the adult industry, and then they leave that industry, and they're realtors or they're selling insurance.
What are you going to do? Like, I'm not going to be doing Playboy stuff for the rest of my life.
Yes,
and
I guess.
Like I said, you have to reinvent, and you have to work. Unless you're really famous, and I wasn't really famous in those years that I had to work, so. You got to do it. I had to feed 3 kids. You got to do what you got to do.
The other question that triggered a door to open in my head, as my good friend Frank Catolo says, is one of the things that you were talking about with people who have money or people who have a lot of power and influence. They're still kind of self-conscious and some of this stuff. And one of the most entertaining videos this year that I have seen online is when the Amazon guy, Jeff Bezos or Lex Luthor, whatever you want to refer to the guy as, he goes to a opening for like a red carpet or something. And he's got this chick on his arm, and Brad Pitt walks by, and she immediately turns her head. And then it
wasn't Brad Pitt.
He gets mad, and he got on social media for several days and said he wasn't threatened by him.
You got the wrong guy. It wasn't Brad Pitt.
Oh, okay.
It was Leonardo DiCaprio.
It was DiCaprio. Okay. The thing that I find so strange about this is that Jeff Bezos has got more money than God, but women don't care that he's got money. Hot guy walked by. Why is that it doesn't?
Okay, so I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Okay.
I can't think of her name right now, and I've met her a few times. She used to be married to the head agent at William Morris Endeavor. So I don't really think that she was turning. She was married to the one of the biggest agents in Hollywood.
Yes.
And I think that she was turning her head because she knows all those people. So I think social media got it wrong.
Well, and see, that's the thing. And I think that instead of him being, Jeff Bezos, kind of was.
I don't think Jeff Bezos has anything to worry about. And
yeah.
I don't.
He's got more money than God. Who cares?
She's too old for Leo.
We have got a great guest with us today. Deborah Driggs is with us. Check out her website, deborah.driggs.com. She is also on Instagram and the Facebook and all over the place. And
hold on.
Look at that.
Hello. Hi, can I call you right back? I'm doing a live podcast. Thank you. Okay.
As the great little John would say, they calling me.
This is real life. This is
hey, it works. I love live radio. That's why we do this.
That's what live shows are about. I could have put that on mute, and I totally forgot. So sorry about that.
Hey, that's fine. No, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Before we let you go,
yeah,
tell us a little bit about where we can get your books, your programs, everything. I want to send as many people your way as possible.
The easiest thing to do would be to go to my website, sign up for my newsletter. You'll get it every week. And at some point, there will be a newsletter that comes out with the announcement of a book, the announcement of a movie coming out, the announcement of my 90-day program, and so on and so forth. So that's the best way, is to go to my website, and sign up for my newsletter and get on my journey. Why not? This is the time to do it, because I'm in the beginning phase of starting this program, and I'm going to be giving away some free stuff. So I'd really like it to see people sign up now, and then before I start really charging. And then the other thing I just want to mention,
yes,
is that anything that gets sold on my website or Instagram, a portion of that is going to go to one of my favorite charities. So that's the other thing that's
awesome.
That's the other thing that's very important to me, and that gets me super jazzed, because I'm really involved with a charity called Our Rescue, O.U.R.Rescue, where these guys go in and save kids from sex slavery.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I've donated a lot of money and time to this charity, and I'm very passionate about it. And so when my stuff starts selling, I've already told my team that we have to figure out what portion of that is going to go to that charity. So
that's pretty badass.
Yeah.
Well, I will have to say that I was looking at one of your Instagram posts about you did a photo shoot in June of 2020, and you were 56, and in a few months you were going to be 58. I'm like, you do not look as old as you say you are.
Yeah, I just turned 58.
I'm trying to figure out, why is it that nowadays people that are of that age, I know when I was growing up, everybody used to think that, well, you got to be 58, you got to be 60, you were sitting in front of the TV, you could barely walk and all that. And now you're 58 and you don't look 58.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So that's just because of the work that I do, and the inner work that I do, I think shows outwardly. And I believe that to be true for everybody. Like I am around a lot of people my age, and I can tell people that are doing really deep inner work because they look a certain way. And I can tell people that aren't doing anything and they're aging a little bit quicker. And I think it's an inside job. I think how you feel on the inside really shows up on the outside. It just does. It's it's like, whatever the thoughts or the emotions or whatever, they show up. And so I'm really aware of that. And I'm trying really hard to age as gracefully as I can. That's why I say aging gracefully is a full-time job. And I don't mean that, I mean it funny, because it really is, as we get older, there's a lot more to consider. In my 20s, I could do nothing. I could run around with no makeup and hardly do anything. And, I maintained my skin and everything in a very easy, basic way. But I think as we get older, we're starting to see that there are a lot of non-invasive things that we can do to age gracefully. And there's a lot of treatments that are non-invasive. There's so many non-surgical things that can be done now that are, just so, we've got exosomes and stem cells and NAD and peptides and all these things that I really truly believe are going to have really long, have people age gracefully long. You know what I mean? Like these are gonna make us live longer and have more longevity in our lives, because we have access to this now. We didn't have access to this 10 years ago. And so that's a whole different shift. And, it's beautiful. But, for me, the biggest one is the stuff I do on the inside. What I put in my body shows up on the outside. I can just tell you that. And I always know, because if I eat sugar or I eat a meal that's really heavy, it shows up, and so I think that's important. And I know I have a lot of friends that are very holistic mindset thinkers, as I am. And, we talk about that a lot. We talk about it all starts in the gut. Everything starts in the gut. That's why everybody's talking about gluten-free and all these gut issues and celiac and, you know, all these gut issues. Everything starts in the gut, not just gut eating issues, but gut emotional issues. Our emotional life is in our gut. So you can imagine how it gets convoluted when people are trying to figure out what's going on in their gut. And I'm always like, do my 90-day program and we'll find out. It might be nothing. It might just be emotional.
Well, this has been fantastic. We definitely have to do this again. I enjoyed chatting with you about everything. And
thank you.
Keep up the good work, Deborah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you, everyone, for listening. And God bless. And I hope you come on my journey.
Definitely. Well, Deborah, have yourself a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you,
my friend.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. There she goes. That is Deborah Driggs. She joins us today here on our big program, and we are going to see you next time. Thanks for watching us on the Facebook.